my gosh. Okay, good evening, everyone. I just want to make sure everybody knows that if you are not a part, if you don't participate in the Magical Monday group Zoom, the reason why I come on different times every week after that is it's because it's sometimes it'll go over a little bit, and that's the training that we like to do for have available for everybody. Doesn't matter what title they are, or if they joined yesterday type thing. So I try to cut it off as soon as possible, to get on at 6:30 Pacific as much as possible. But just in case, that's why I'm kind of logging on late sometimes. Um, Sorry about last week. Didn't have a voice, and I think I had like a 24-hour, 48-hour flu or something because I was just knocked off my rocker. And then I've just been acting away. So, all right. So, what I want to chat about today is something that a lot of you, but may not. I don't know. Everybody's focus is different. Everybody's awareness is different. Uh, Even though you may be the same title as somebody else and been in the business as long as the next person, just where you focus your energy and your time is going to be different, right? So I wanted to share with you guys something that happened today that happened to one of my frontline. And she did a post last week of on a page that was basically of a NHL fan page. Okay. And intentionally, she had no idea that she was marketing because she didn't put her website. She didn't say, hey, here's my number, call me. She was like literally making a post saying, making people aware that if you have a Scentsy consultant, hit them up because we're going to be having, NHL warmers come out. And in her mind, it was just like making people aware for all Scentsy consultants. So her heart was in the right place. But it was still considered marketing on a fan page. So she, unfortunately, her account got shut down. And I got the email, and it said that this specific consultant, who's a very, very professional consultant, it's been around for a while, and I know on a personal level, and I know that she does everything with full intention to be compliant and professional. It was a simple oversight, and it's the interesting part was that it was taken down last week, the same day that she put it up, but somehow somebody reported her, and she got the email today. The interesting thing that happened for me is that because her account got shut down, they shut mine down too because I'm her sponsor. And so, oh yeah, that was my face. It was a glitch. It was a mistake on their end, but let me tell you how I called roaring because I literally put in my pre-orders in on my website. I went to go back to do another order or no, just to go into my workstation to see something. And I got a notice that said, you have been canceled. And, all this, like, when you're ready to reinstate, you can order a new. I was like, what? And then I kept reading, and it said that I'm I'm done. Like, I'm like, account's closed. So I immediately got on consultant support and asked for compliance and said, look, I know about the email with my frontline, and she's very well aware of it. She's already taken care of it. But because of her violation, I'm being shut down. And I said, I got no email saying that I violated anything. And they were like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. While I was talking to them, they put it back up immediately. But that can let's just happen, guys. And so that was both of us, her and I were both like mortified. Me because I didn't do anything wrong this time. Not to say that I haven't in the past. I've made oversights. Team members have been, but Melissa's actually one that has made me aware of something that I did. And she's like, I just want to make sure you don't get in trouble. I'm like, thank you so much. Because sometimes we do things in excitement and we're just trying to get things out and post information. And just one little thought, like It's an oversight. It's a silly little rookie move that we just happens to happen, and we're not even realizing that we're violating something. So some of you, I get emailed honestly on a regular basis, letting me know that somebody in our organization is has violated something and that they're being warned and they need to respond and blah 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 blah. So it's happening all the time, you guys. Um, and it was again mortifying for the specific consultant because this is her full-time business. This isn't like a I'll see what happens this month, or I'll decide if I'm going to work my business this week or anything. This is a full-time gig for her. So it was a very much like it rocked her world that like she even did that and didn't connect the dots. But also the fact is that she shut it down. I mean, she took the marketing down, and like last Thursday it happened, and she took it down the same day, and then she just got the email today, right when we were launching, the NFL warmers, which were supplies while supplies last, and she had orders. So the reason why I'm bringing this up is I want you guys to know, as leaders, it doesn't matter where you are in your business, what title you hold, how long you've been with the business. You're always going to be like on the chopping block, meaning people are always going to be looking at you. If you are in a different title that's a little bit higher than them, you've been around a little bit longer, they're going to always assume that you know what you're doing, or that you are doing it because it's okay. So, and that's not necessarily true. Like I said, I've done it in the past, made a very silly mistake, and I totally knew it was wrong, but like somebody had to make me aware. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't even know why I didn't think about. I know that it's a silly mistake. So it'll happen, but let's see. Right at the launch, yes, disgusting, right? How come it was immediate termination and not a warning since okay, it's because of it's a license. They do not mess around with the license products. And that's their agreement. They have to show the license, whatever, whether it's Disney, NFL, NHL, they have to show immediate consequence. That's the only way we're going to keep our license, because and the sad thing is somebody like her that's never gotten a violation before, she was like, well, can't they give me a warning? And I agree 100%. Like, oh, so I have to assure her, and I wanted to assure you guys that in that situation, there's always an opportunity that, or a possibility that you may do something wrong, or somebody in your team. I want you guys to share with your team members, as well as rest assured for you guys, that there's always an appeal process. And as your guys' superstar director, they always make me aware what their consequences are. And then if there's a reason that they're going to terminate, um, and you're always going to have a chance to appeal. And if you appeal, then they're going to ask me what your character is, what's behind all of your workstation, what you're doing in your business. And if I don't know, if you're connecting with me and I don't know your personality, your intent with your business, the actions that you're putting in your business, it's going to be hard for me to go to bat for you. But the person that I'm talking about right now for today, I know what she's doing in her business. Not only because I see it in her workstation, but we stay connected. She makes a point to share with me what she's doing in her business, and we stay connected. And she makes sure that we talk at least once a week. And so there would be no, like I said, when that happened, I literally did a double take. Like, are they sure that that's the right person? Like, I was floored myself. And so I texted her and I said, did you see your email? And apparently she didn't see it yet, because she was in the workstation all morning that hadn't been in, or I mean, the email all morning that hadn't been in the last like 5 minutes or something. And she's like, oh my gosh, I don't even know what to do with myself right now. So what I'm saying is that it's so important to stay connected with your sponsor and your director, and me as well, because if they can't tell me what your character is and how you run your business and what your intentions are, there's not a lot that I can do for you. Because even if you have a great business like this person did, if I didn't know her character, I would have just been like, okay, maybe she's, I don't know if she has integrity and she cares about the culture of the business and the company. So I want to make sure that you guys are not only taking time to read your standards and do your best to try to understand how to market licensed products. But on the other hand, I always tell you guys there's two different sides to this business. Is that, and it's always circumstantial. That on the other hand, even if you are mainly aware of what you're doing, you may unawarely make us literally an unintentional mistake. And so, one, I want you guys to rest assured that I will go to bat for the ones that are showing up regularly and making it a point to stay connected, because then I know that you care about your business. And I have to protect the culture and the integrity of the company. That's part of being a superstar director. So, and then also, I also have to protect the culture that I've created in the last 10 years. And so when people look at my organization and my team and my group, I want them to look at a positive thing and how all of you are running your businesses are to the best of your ability, that is as far as the integrity of Scentsy. That's not something that we can control once it gets to a certain point. Like, I can't control what everybody's doing right now. But if you decide to stay connected with your sponsor and your director, then enough people are connected that if I am not one on one talking with you on a regular basis, I can go to somebody and ask, what's the situation? Do you think that this was intentional? Do you think that this was, trying to cut corners to get more orders? Or do you think this was literally an oversight? And I'm going to trust, I'm going to trust you guys if I come to you about that. But it made me realize that not only, I need to talk about everybody brushing up on their marketing standards for licensed products, but I need to do that as well. Because there are a lot of things that have changed since Disney Warmers first launched. And even now, there's been some changes with just like how the NFL and NHL things have been coming out. So, one thing I will say is that they always say it takes 21 days to create a habit, right? Well, if we only deal with a certain situation once in an entire year, like an NFL launch or an NHL launch, some people are going to forget what they learned when they first marketed, right? And so there's a skill that needs to be brushed up on, and a level of knowledge that needs to be brushed up on. And so I strongly suggest and encourage you guys to do trainings with your teams about how important it is to understand license compliance, because this is something that Scentsy been working on for their entire career, is getting these licenses. And that's why they have to have such a harsh uh, disciplinary action, is because they can't let one person affect the entire company. As great as that person is, they have to make sure that that person learns their lesson and understands the severity of their actions. And it sure did jolt her and she sure will be sure to make sure she is dotting her i's and crossing her t's before she touches any type of marketing when it comes to licensed products. It's a sad way to learn, the hard way to learn. But we were discussing, and I said to her, I said, but they're doing that for a reason. Unfortunately, somebody like you, I wish they gave you not such a harsh, disciplinary action, but it jolted you, right? And so you now are going to make sure that you don't make those type of mistakes. And she said, yeah, that's true. That's for darn sure. And so just know that Scentsy not trying to be nasty or mean, or they're not saying that they don't care about really good consultants, because that's not the case at all. They just have such a very, very strict guideline when it comes to the license through these different organizations, that they're not given much flexibility. Let me see if nope, nobody's on with the leaders. So, and then I'm just going to say this, that leaders, if you're looking to grow your business, but you're not showing up for trainings, and or you're not watching recordings, which I know many of you do. So I'm not, and here's the thing, the ones that are watching the recordings or live, I don't have to say anything, but the people that don't show up, they're not even going to see the recordings, right? They're not going to click record. So that's why I need you guys, the ones that do show up and listen to recordings, to pass the information on, because that's one thing that you can't get around. There's not one consultant in Scentsy that has any level of success, meaning they've built a team, they have an income they can rely on, they've got a clientele. Not one consultant will ever say that they got there without training and learning their business on a regular basis. Some may do more and some may do a little less, but there is some type of training that they do consistently. And so if your leaders are not showing up and they're wondering why their teams aren't growing, people, they do what they see. If they want to grow, they're going to do what they see their leaders do. And then on the other hand, like I said, there's two sides. You have to remember that some people do things on their own, like recording. So find out who those people are on your team so you can connect with them, because they may not be able to show up live, but they are watching your trainings. So remember, ask, make those phone calls directly to find out who are actually utilizing them. And then you can go and make another step to actually do some one-on-one with them, because this business is built around everybody's other priorities, right? So not everybody's going to be able to show up live. But as you could see, one person shows up to my leadership things live, and there was like 4 people live in the entire group of, almost 600 people. So you could say that on both sides. On one side, people do what they see, like what their leaders are doing, they follow that. But then on the other hand, if only 4 people are showing up to, when there's 600 people in the organization, we know they're being trained in some way, right? If the business is growing, which it is. So we need to find out how they're utilizing the trainings and how they're growing their business that way. And then we just kind of reach out and connect that way. Melissa, what are you doing over there, ma'am? You're like all busy and you have a lot of fun stuff.
I'm sorry. I'm
No.
multitasking. I'm trying to get my monthly mailers out. And I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I don't know what you got going on there that looks like fun samples or something. What do you have?
Yeah, they're felt samples.
Oh,
I'm I'm getting my monthly mailer together. I'm trying to get it out by tomorrow because it's already the 6th of the month. And my goal, I'm trying to earn annual sales, and I still have like $3,500 left for the month. And I don't really know how I'm going to do that, but I'm doing all the things. So
Melissa, you just know that I've seen people hit like annual sales, earn a trip, mentor, all that stuff, like on the last day at like 11:30 at night. So just keep going.
Like, I'll be so mad if I get like within $1,000, and I'll be within $1,000. Yeah. And so to not earn it and be within $1,000, like I just can't let that happen. Like I can't let that happen. So my monthly mailer, I love my monthly mailer. Every month I send out a monthly mailer. I don't have it, but I send out 3 to 4 samples, felt samples.
Okay.
Every month. Oops. And I do a monthly mixer. So my monthly mixer this month is called A Walk on the Beach. I don't know. Somebody came up with it. But it's coral sunset and summer holiday. So I print those out, make the samples. I have 113 of them going out this month. So I had to make 113 of each of those samples. Wow. And I thought I had it done and I was short. So that's what I'm doing now.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Good for you. That's awesome. I just want to bring up, if you weren't on our Magical Monday group Zoom, got to get those words out. Melissa and I were talking about how we can walk to each other's houses. And so I just wanted to share, she just said she has like 113 people she's mailing them to. I have around the same amount of people, over 100 people that I mail to. And it just proves that you can be consultants within a very small radius and still have a lot of clientele that do not intertwine with each other. And so, and then her sponsor is like the same walking distance to me, you know, and then I have other team members and they have other team members that are all in the same area. And just that just an example in itself, that if I had no other clients other than my mailer, like I think Melissa probably does the same thing, but like they stay on like a system. If you don't buy, you kind of get taken off or whatever. And so obviously we both have more than 100 clients that aren't getting mailed to, but it proves that there's at least 100 people minimum that both of us get to work with every month. And they may not order every month, but it proves that you can live around the corner from each other and have a very good clientele. You just have to be willing to do all the things to like get your name out there and try new things, basically, you know. So that I'm glad that you shared that with us. Those are super cute. I love them.
Thank you. I'm learning.
Um,
I'm learning about layering too. Michelle talks a lot about layering, and I
Yes.
never really thought about layering as far as like the things that I do. You know, like as far as like she talks about layering with follow up, and so I never really thought about layering with marketing, like put it on Facebook, put it on Instagram, put it in an email, put it in a text message, put it in Messenger. And I used to feel very yucky about that, like I was bugging people, but I'm realizing that some people don't see, you know, there might be one or two people that see me reach out 7 different ways and they'll be like, dude. But then the others are like, hey, thanks for sending me that email. I had no idea.
Right? Yes, I'm huge on layering because it's so true. Everybody, the way you connect or they connect is different from the next person. So this person may only look at emails and that person only looks at text messages. And if we're just assuming that everybody's looking at emails and that's it, we're missing out on a lot of clientele if we're not doing the layering as far as reaching out. So yes, absolutely, 100%. Layering is definitely a very worth the time and the effort. So I hope that that little message and tip that you just shared helps some people that watch the recording. So yeah, for those of you that are out there that never really thought of layering, are you are you sharing like the things that are coming out in multiple ways? Like, are you sending an email? Are you sending text messages? Are you posting on Facebook in some way on your business page and your VIP page? Are you sharing your business page post to your personal page? Because honestly, like Melissa just said, there's probably going to be a very small percentage of people that actually saw all the ways. And if they are, in my experience, if they're like irritated, they'll tell you that they want to be marketed this way and that's it. And then you can have a list of people that you know that you're not going to layer those people to because you know that that's how they respond. And it makes your life easier because you don't have as many people that you have to, you know, put on that list. Like I've done some Google Docs of just customer care surveys of like, you know, what is your preference of communication? And it really makes a huge difference for me. So like, if they're like, I don't need your sample, I don't need your, you know, monthly flyer, as long as it's in an email, I'm fine. That saves me money, first of all, on many levels, flyers, stamps, time, everything. But then I will also make sure that they're aware that there's something to actually smell in my mailers. And once they know that, they'll be like, oh, well, maybe I do want it. But then I've had some people, especially because of COVID this last year, they're like, no, I'm fine. I don't want any mail. Just send me the email. And I get orders just from that one way because they're telling me how I can get a hold of them. All right. Well, that nobody's on to really start more of a discussion. I just hopefully you guys can um, make some compliance posts, maybe add, you know, really fast. We want to keep it simple. We want to always direct to the workstation, but it would be very helpful if you guys have your own group pages that your team tends to always go to instead of mine or your directors or whatever. Create like a file or a guide in Facebook with all the links to the workstation as far as like specific compliance marketing. So then if, because a lot of consultants do only pay attention to what's going, like what you post of what's happening, they literally rely on you on to tell them what's happening. So if you have a source for them to go to, if you don't already have that made up, you're just, again, it's layering. It's layering that, the news tab is telling them, but if they don't look at their news tab, you're sharing it with them on Facebook. And then like for me with new consultants, I always do the extra step of texting and letting them know what is going on that's new, because they're still not quite used to where they're supposed to look and how. So I'll do the extra step of layering to say, hey, like one of my newest consultants, she said she actually bought the NFL warmer last season. She never bought Scentsy before. And so I knew that was what attracted her to Scentsy. So I text her saying, hey, I just want to make sure you saw the mini warmers and the that's launching on Monday. And she was like, oh no, I haven't had a chance to get in my workstation yet. So thank you. So doing a little bit above and beyond for your new team members really does help. And then just letting them know that where they can find those resources moving forward so they don't rely on you all the time, if that makes sense, on getting the information. All right. Well, I hope you guys have a good night. And let's all start brushing up on our standards. Oh, and if you weren't on the Monday call for the group, the 30th, March 30th, all consultant call was about product licensing marketing. So if you haven't watched that, I encourage you to, and then definitely share the link on your pages to encourage your teams to watch that, because what's been going on lately with all these license stuff. All right. Have a good night, everyone. Bye.